Man, you're not gonna believe the day at work I had it. What are you doing? Really? Yeah, something's definitely weird. Well, no matter. Come on, we got work to do. Hey guys, Quantum Light here. Top deck cards are some of the best cards the game has to offer. Throwing into just one card can actually switch the game around into your favor. The phrase top deck literally means heart of the cards. Because one card can make all the huge difference in the whole game. Top deck cards are usually seen as either revivers or recyclers. Which is why today I decided to count my top 5 favorite top deck cards. Now before I start the video, 2 things I want to go over. Number 1, for everyone who's into gaming, I'll leave a link in the description below to my boy Shady Titan. He's got a gamers channel trying to get it out there, so be sure to check him out. Now the second thing, regarding the list. These are just my top 5 favorites. Meaning that I'm not ranking them from 5 to 1 to see which one is the best one of the format or the game in general. No, this is me literally playing favorites. So with that being said, let's get started. So coming in at number 5, we've got Traptrix DNA, or Dio, whichever one you want to go with if you can't pronounce the name right. Traptrix Dio is the Traptrix Reviver. While one could look at her first effect, which is if she's special summoned, either revived or one or the other, being able to set another trap hole from your graveyard back into your back row is actually pretty cool. I mean, who wouldn't want to reuse a bottomless? The backside to it doesn't really affect much, but it's who she revives is what matters. That is literally only the half of it. Her other effect, then this is the top deck effect, it can revive a Traptrix monster from the graveyard. Being half the engine, she can revive Mermelio, therefore enabling the MST effect. Now once you're through with that, you can just go for instant rank 4. Can you say 101? Now the same could be said about Atrax and Nepenthes, but honestly, the reason why Mermelio is the better one to revive is obviously the MST effect. Being the Traptrix engine, it's easily splashable in any deck possible. Although we use it for Mermelio's effect, it's good to know that it can be used for any Traptrix monster. And that right there is good enough to earn the number 5 spot. Coming in at number 4, you got Pot of Dichotomy. Now Dichotomy here is the recycler. This card is the one that replaced Pot of Avarice. Now while Avarice is obviously the superior one, maybe even more so than Pot of Greed, Dichotomy allows you to recycle 3 different monster types from your graveyard back into the deck, shuffle, and draw 2 cards at the cost of your battle phase. It may not win you the game, given the fact that you're giving up your battle phase, not to mention the fact that it's got to be the first spell you activate during your turn. It's the fact that it's the recycler that counts, allowing you to stock up on 2 cards from your deck, all at the cost of returning 3 monsters, with different types of course, back into your deck that you know you're going to be needing it later on in the game. But like Dio, there also comes a downside to this. We've all been there where we just dead drew into this card. When you have it in your hand and you got nothing in your grave. You got no Mermelio in the grave, you don't have that many monsters in the grave, and if you do, they're all the same type. This is the card that's the answer to so many graveyard reliant decks. Even on so many that rely on a vast amount of different types. While Pot of Dichotomy may never ever surpass Pot of Avarice, it's safe to assume that it's still a pretty good top deck card. I mean, say what you want when you dead draw into it, you can't deny that when you do draw into it, and when it does go off, you can't not say that it's not worth it. And the fact that I recommended it to every Galaxy player out there, it still deserves a number 4 spot. And just for lols, I'm no longer running this in my Photon Galaxy deck. Just saying. Another reason why it comes in at number 4. Crawling in at number 3, we've got Masked Chameleon. Masked Chameleon, another reviver. Level 4 tuner, he can be searched with King of the Feral Imps. Even better, once you use his revival effect, you can go for King of the Feral Imps and then search for another one. If goblins ever become a deck, this would sure as hell be a staple. Now while it may be a tuner, and it is used for synchro summons, typically, the fact that it's level 4, it mostly goes with rank 4 heavy decks. Anything with 0 defense revived with him will automatically turn the whole game around. The only downside to that is that you can't special summon during the turn you bring this card out and you use its effect. The only special summon you're going to be doing is from the extra deck. Exoton anyone? So if you got anything with 0 defense in your grave and you happen to draw into this card, congratulations, you are still in the game. Good luck. If your opponent's got 700 life points or less than that, well, go for a cowboy. Detach game. Your opponent's got a Star Eater on the field. You summon Mass Chameleon, you revive with its effect, you overlay into 101, snatch it, game. Your opponent has a 101. Mass Chameleon's effect, overlay for Castel, bye-bye. And my personal favorite, you know, the one that nobody really ever sees coming, Chameleon, overlay for Heartland Draco. Like the Breed Dragon, which I might as well name it as an honorable mention here, it's what goes into a lot of variety of decks. I mean, reviving a monster with a very small cost, then going into the bigger guy could turn the game around. Although we can use Chameleon at 3, some of us rarely ever use it at 3, usually around 2 or 1. But even so, it's good to have it at 3 knowing that we can actually use it at 3, even though sometimes we don't. With such a huge effect and a small cost, all the more reason to have it in a number 3 spot. Now coming in at number 2, and coming in at number 1, which I will get to after, number 2, I just want to say first that it was really hard choosing which one of these two would make it as number 2 and which one will be at number 1. While both are really good and they're both one of my personal favorites, I just couldn't accept the fact that one has to have been better than the other. This is still my top 5 favorites. That's the key word here, favorites. But even when playing favorites, even I can't ignore facts. So with that being said, ironically coming in at number 2, we have got Rank Up Magic the 7th one. This card is the definition of top decking. This one card engine can be thrown into any deck possible. Unlike the Artifact engine, the Tour Guide engine, the Traptrix engine, and whatever engine you could come up with, that's 2 and or more cards that you gotta fit into one deck, which means that you gotta make slots. Rank Up Magic the 7th one, it's only one spot that you have to fill in. Now I won't go too much into detail, I've already made a video discussing Rank Up Magic the 7th one, so I'm gonna try to make this one short. Now when I say it is the embodiment of top decking, it's basically, yeah, it's heart of the cards. Once you draw into it, and that's it. Unlike the aforementioned ones that actually can be pulled off, even after you draw into it, dead drawn actually, and you have nothing in the grave to, work your way around that. Most of us would love to draw into Mass Chameleon, Traptrix Dio, even when there's nothing in the grave to revive them with. But even Konami had to water down the limits of Rank Up Magic the 7th one. Because once you do draw into it, via an effect, like let's say, trade in, you're just basically screwed. Not only do you have to reveal it to your opponent, but just like Pot of Dichotomy, it's got to be the first spell you activate. Upon activation, you can bring out number 107 or anyone between 101 to 107, and then bring up the Chaos form afterwards. But just like the other cards that I've already talked about, it can be stopped. Yeah, that's one thing that a lot of top deck cards have in common. They can be stopped. I mean, 9 times out of 10, they do work in your favor, but there's always that small chance where they can be stopped. Dead drawing into it is the negativity, and with the negativity out of the way now, we can now focus on the good. Being able to special summon an Exceed monster, let alone a Chaos Exceed straight from the extra deck, just by drawing into it, is already good enough. For more info on how to utilize it, I'll leave a link in the description below on how to utilize Rank Up Magic the 7th one. Now, Rank Up Magic should have been my number 1 pick, but there is one top deck card that deserves number 1. Now, my number 1 favorite top deck card goes to, drumroll please, it's Soul Charge. Yes, Soul Charge. Everyone's talked about Soul Charge. You either bashed it, you love it, you hate it, you use it, you want to kill it, you want to kill it with fire. There's no denying that Soul Charge does switch the game in anyone's favor, whoever uses it first. This is a rekindling, even before it got hit to 1. Back then when we were able to use 3, if we wanted to use 3, I personally used 1, but let me explain. Back when we were able to use just 3 of it, there was no denying this card was a bitch to get around, and a lot of people hated this card. Once Rekindling went to 1, that's when this came into the picture, and that's when everyone started losing their minds. Soul Charge to 1, Rekindling to 1, there's not many revival cards now, with Monster Reborn possibly never coming back. Like many have stated, we are playing a game where we were able to give up 2 of our draw phases, just so we can draw 2 cards in 1 turn. Draw 1 card by giving our opponent 1,000, overpriced the hell out of a common that came out years ago, but no one had a problem giving up 1,000 life points per monster revived with Soul Charge. This is what I give a Pot of Dichotomy for. And if you really think about it, it kind of works the same way. While you may not be recycling, you're reviving. And even with that, you're giving up your battle phase. Top it all off, you're giving up 1,000 life points per monster you're reviving. Like the 7th one, it could be put in any deck. Because, every deck needs reviving nowadays. And personally, and I've actually experienced this, so for all my Galaxy players out there, this is what I replace Pot of Dichotomy with. So if Pot of Dichotomy is not really working out for you, I suggest taking that out and swapping it for a Soul Charge. So overall in Soul Charge, the reason why it takes up the number 1 spot is because it's Soul Charge. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and be sure to give this video a like, comment, subscribe, and also check out Shady Titan down there in the description below. I'll see you in the next video. Lights out! Alright, another video done, another job well done. No I didn't. No, I didn't! Look. We're gonna go to Planet Drake 34's house in a little bit, so just start packing things up. I'm gonna go eat a little something, then I'm gonna go. We got locals this weekend, and we don't want to miss out on that. Gotta come prepared. Alright, start packing up. We leave in 5.